Greetings. I want to speak to you concerning the two divine gifts that have been given to each and every one of us in this world. And you have to be the judge of how you have been using these two divine gifts in your life. Now, you've been given the gift of speech, and you have been given the gift of mind. You can think, you can articulate things, you can reason, you have a vivid sense of memory, you have intuition, you have imagination, you have reasoning, you have will. All of these qualities empower you and put you above the animals, put you above the trees, put you in a place of dominion, a place of leadership. We can communicate to each other audibly by way of speech. And so, when I speak to you, you do not see my words, because that's a divine gift, the gift of speech. And when I have a thought in my mind, you do not see my thought, you cannot smell my thought, you cannot feel my thought, because it's not happening from the realm of the physical. It is happening from the realm of the spiritual. And that is why we must rise above the level of the animals. You see, the animals, they dwell on the level of the five senses: see, taste, touch, smell, and so on. But we are capable of tapping into the sixth sense because we have mind and speech. We can form and shape anything in our imagination, and we can also reshape anything in our imagination. And that is what makes us equal to the gods. And that is why you're told that with God all things are possible. And if thou, speaking about you, if you can believe, all things are possible to him who can believe. But what are you believing in? You have to believe in your higher self, your true self, your God self, your imaginative self, your creative self. That part of you that molds and builds and uplifts. The part of you that is in alignment with the rest of nature. The part of you that embraces love. Because there's nothing greater than love. Love and forgiveness is actually the same thing. Because you have to have genuine love within yourself to forgive yourself. Because you have to first forgive yourself to love and embrace yourself. And therefore you love and embrace others. You forgive others because you would realize that everyone is your own self being externalized, but many different versions dwelling at many different levels, because you can either dwell in a higher self or in your lower self. So my brother, my sister, this message is to help you to utilize the two divine gifts that have been given to you. And that is why in the great parable of the 5,000 and the 7,000 that was fed by 2 fishes and 5 loaves, you realize that you have 5 senses, and you have the power of speech and mind, and you have to use your mind to give you your every desire, because your creative power is your mind power. So thoughts become things, and we become what we think about most of the time. So what are you dwelling on daily is what will become your reality. So my brother, my sisters, get to understand more deeply what it really means metaphysically when it says, as a man thinketh in his heart. It does not speak about the organ that pumps blood around the body. It's speaking about your subconscious mind, your invisible self. As a man thinketh from that place, so is he. Because if you understand inner alchemy, you will realize that thoughts, they are vibrational frequency. And everything is based on energy, vibration, and frequency, your mass of energy. So whatever you give your energy to, it will become your reality. So, my brother, my sisters, what do you say to yourself when you are by yourself? You see, your self-talk can never be hidden. That is why it says that if you look upon a woman and think in your heart, you already commit the act. You see, if you're angry with your brother without a cause, you already commit that. What is this telling you? It is telling you that thoughts is what creates your personality and creates your reality. It is teaching you the power of the mind, that everything is the manifestation of a thought. It is teaching you that we are living in a mental universe. It is teaching you that the Bible is mental, it is psychological. It is teaching you that the stories of the Bible that addresses the human mind and must be interpreted psychologically. It is teaching you that these stories are not literal or secular history. And they're not pointing you to look outwardly. They're pointing you to look inwardly. Because the kingdom of God is within you. So utilize mind and speech and live like a God. Don't live like a dog. Live like a God. Don't live a third-class life. Live a first-class life because you know who you are and you know the power that you possess. You know, every time I think back on 2020 and the great pandemic and how many people lower the standard because they do not know who they are. And when you listen to these people, they are the most religious and superstitious people. And they are the people who want to change everyone else except themselves. But my brother, my sister, the greatest lesson that you ever learn in this life is that there's no one to change but yourself. And when you discover that, then you will hold responsibility for your thoughts and your actions. Because you will realize that you've been given two divine gifts. And that's why the Bible tells you that one was given 5 and one was given 2 and one was given 1. It's a promise it's telling you. And so if you use your 5 senses and operate in common sense, which is the sense you're born in this world with, your God sense, if you use that, you will multiply, you will grow, you will expand, and your life would be of benefit to humanity. You'll uplift humanity because you tap into your creativity and you use your ability for the upliftment and the advancement of all of humanity. And also, if you tap into your 2 divine gifts and realize how powerful you are, having given mind and speech, then you will become a problem solver. You become a multiplier. You will multiply. That's what the Bible is really teaching you. That's the parable. Teaching you the phenomena of life. But he who think that he's been given one gift because he's trapped in the physical world of matter, and here looking at his circumstances, it is the man who's looking at the effects but never realize that he's the cause. And that's why so many people blame a devil outside of themselves and fail to realize that the negative self is the devil. And so it is teaching you in parables, in metaphysical and esoteric terms, how when you live your life as a hypocrite and you live in fear and doubt and shame and guilt and self-preservation, how you'll never get anywhere in life. But my brother, my sisters, I'm saying to you, you must live beyond the level of the animals. In 2020, with COVID, many people brought themselves down to the level of the animals. It was a sight to see many people in their religious congregation clapping and singing with a mask on their faces. It's such a shame. And I've always been saying, if I was a preacher with a congregation, they would have to take me and my entire congregation and put us in the prison. And I know it would not be in for long, because as you can see, What is the difference between those who take the inoculation and the inoculation? The difference is that one bow to mental slavery, while the other understand that his real identity is his divinity, and he will never bow to the system and their ideology or their trickery. So, whether we say, my brother, my sister, I can go on and on and on and on and on, but I think you get the main message I'm trying to bring across to you. I'm saying to you, speak more optimistic and positive things in your life. When I speak about speech, you have inner speech. Use it wisely. When I speak about mind, many people do not know anything about the law of mentalism. That is why they fail to realize that the Bible had to first be a thought, it had to first be an idea, it had to first be imagined, it had to first be mental and psychological before it could be written. That is why it must be interpreted from a psychological standpoint. That is why it adjusts the human mind and must be interpreted psychologically. That is why it could never ever be literal or secular history. And when I experience the virgin birth, the birth from above, the birth from the skull, then I know the whole story. That's why I know the greatest lie ever been fed to humanity is that Jesus and Mary's story was been given to you as if it is literal and secular history. But you cannot change the law of reproduction. Every seed and every species must reproduce after its own kind, because whatever life is in the seed, that is the fruit it will bring forth. If there's such a man that walks the earth and he now lives in you in form of spirit, then you have to do the same thing literally. If he was turning literal water into wine, if he was taking literal fish and bread and break it and feed people, then religious people would have been the most richest people in the world. Just teaching you wisdom to greatness, wisdom to business, wisdom to be more articulate, wisdom to have more business mind, business sense. That's if I go more deeper into these things, you'll understand more what I'm talking about. And you'll understand why it says the rich ruleth over the poor in Proverbs 22. It said the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender. And all the people who bow in the time of COVID, because they're borrowers. They had mortgages with the bank, but they failed to realize that the river always overflows its bank. And you have a river of living water always flowing up inside of you. And when that happens within you, you won't have room enough to store that blessing. That's in Malachi chapter 3. That's why I wrote a book called How to Open the Floodgates of Abundance. The floodgates of abundance is within you. It's not taking 1/10 of what you walk for and give to some preacher. Don't make nobody check you. It's so foolish to think that you're having God, because when you walk by the month, you do not take your 1/10 and give it to the pastor. Do you realize you saying that the pastor is your God? You can pay God you can't see. How you can pay a spirit with physical money? When money was first a thought and first an idea and was first imagined. Anyway, that's another topic for another time. Let me come to a close here. And let me say, if this is the very first time now you're listening to me, what I'm saying, if it makes sense to you, if it really resonates with you, and you have a subscriber already, I'm definitely encourage you to subscribe, to like, to comment, to share this video. Also, if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, or you'd like to follow me on TikTok, you can definitely follow me at BlackMadGuru. But most definitely I encourage you to get my latest book. It's called Spiritual Recipe for Better Living. And there I'm explaining certain Old Testament scriptures from a metaphysical and esoteric standpoint, and teaching you that the Bible is a book of recipe for better living, because it's all about you feasting on the physical food for your soul so you can grow in every aspect of life, and teaching you that the Bible must be understood on 3 levels. You are physical, you are psychological, and you're spiritual. Therefore, you must understand the Bible on all 3 levels, not on 1 level. That's why people still look into a geographical Israel and look into geographical places in the so-called Middle East, when somebody eat those places that you think is Middle East is actually in Africa. And you fail to realize that it is dwelling places that is within you, psychologically speaking. Where do you live psychologically? Where do you dwell psychologically? Do you realize the thoughts that you go back to every day and dwell upon those thoughts over and over again? That's where you're living? You think it's just physical living? Okay, so I can go on, but let me come to a close and let me say, that you must get this book not just for yourself, but for a friend, for a family member, and for some religious person. Okay, give them that book. They might take it up and read it one day. And it might wake them up to catch themselves to realize that the Bible is not literal. Okay. Also, if you like to follow me on Instagram and you like to follow me on TikTok, you can definitely. I think I said that before, but I just want to say that I have a Patreon community. That's what I meant to say. Okay, and if you want to be a part of my Patreon community, you're most welcome. However, I have a course there called The Inner Sun Science and Technology to create your reality consciously. And along with that is a bonus course on self-concept. So if you feel led to listen to those videos, I'll definitely encourage you to do so. But of course, therefore, people are donating $20 or more. Also, before I leave you, I want to say if you would like to have a one-on-one with me, you can reach out to me by way of email. And once we come to one decision, we can definitely work together and have a good time together. But you must be willing to invest in yourself. Also, if you feel strongly led to support this work because of great benefit to you, I just want to remind you that we have a PayPal and the link is always down below. So with that being said, my brother and my sister, I just want to say to all of you, peace, love you all, I'm out.